Imagine sitting in a room full of people and feeling like a ghost. You speak, but no one listens. You give, but no one values it. You show up, but somehow, it's like you were never there. That moment, when you realize you were never seen the way you hoped to be, it cracks something inside you. You start to wonder, maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just not worth the attention, the respect, the love. But I want you to pause right here, and before we go any further, if you've ever been treated like you didn't matter, if you've ever had to hide your pain behind a fake smile, hit that subscribe button and stay with me till the end. Because this speech isn't just words. It's a mirror. It's the reflection of everything you've been through, and the reminder of who you really are. It's easy to forget yourself when the world stops seeing you. You start shrinking, dimming your own light, just to fit into places that were never meant for you. You begin to apologize for existing too loudly, for caring too deeply, for feeling too much. You pretend to be okay when you're not. You smile when your soul is exhausted. And one day, you wake up, realizing you've spent so much of your life trying to earn the love of people who were never even capable of understanding it. That's the breaking point, the silent moment when your soul whispers, enough. You realize that chasing validation from people who never valued your presence is like trying to fill a black hole. It never ends. You could give them everything, and they'd still act like you gave them nothing. You could be loyal, kind, consistent, but they'd still treat you like you were replaceable. That's not your fault. That's the reflection of their blindness, not your worth. There comes a moment when you have to look at yourself in the mirror, broken, tired, misunderstood, and ask, when did I forget who I am? Because you weren't always this quiet. You weren't always this unsure. Once, you were full of life, full of purpose, full of dreams. But somewhere along the line, the constant rejection, the subtle disrespect, the quiet neglect, it all began to convince you that maybe your light wasn't needed in this world. But here's the truth. They didn't treat you like you didn't matter because you weren't enough. They treated you that way because your presence reminded them of everything they'll never be. Your kindness, your depth, your loyalty. It terrified them. People who are empty inside cannot appreciate those who love deeply. They'll take your love, drain your energy, and when they're done, they'll make you feel like you were the problem. And that's where most people break. That's where they give up. But not you. Because deep inside, you know you're meant for something more. You know that pain has a purpose. Every time someone ignored you, every time someone made you feel invisible, it was life pushing you toward your own rediscovery. Sometimes God allows people to reject you, so you stop begging for rooms that you've outgrown. Sometimes silence is protection. Sometimes being left out is divine direction. You were never meant to be seen by everyone, only by those who are meant to walk beside you in your purpose. When they treated you like you didn't matter, you started to build walls. But one day, those walls won't be your prison, they'll be your fortress. Because the pain that once broke you will become the foundation of your strength. And those same people who made you doubt yourself, they'll see you again. But this time, they won't recognize you. Because you'll be standing taller, speaking less, and moving like someone who finally knows their worth. But that transformation doesn't come overnight. It starts in the quiet. It starts when you decide to stop explaining yourself to people who enjoy misunderstanding you. It starts when you realize that you can't control how others see you. You can only control how you see yourself. And that's the hardest part. You'll want to explain. You'll want to prove. You'll want to show them that you were never the villain they painted you to be. But you can't fight for understanding in a world built on ignorance. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. The moment you accept that, you begin to rise. Slowly, silently, gracefully, you start choosing yourself again. You start walking away from conversations that drain your spirit. You start saying no to people who only call you when they need something. You stop trying to fix what never respected your effort, and instead, you turn inward. You rebuild. There's power in that. The kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't beg, doesn't seek approval. It's the quiet, unshakable confidence that grows when you remember who you are. And when that happens, the world that once ignored you will feel your absence. They'll look around and realize the energy shifted. The one who cared too much stopped caring. The one who stayed too long finally left. And life, in its poetic way, will start rewarding you for everything you endured. You'll start attracting peace instead of chaos, real people instead of takers, opportunities instead of obstacles. Because the universe mirrors your self-worth. The day you start treating yourself like you matter, the world begins to follow your lead. So if you're listening to this right now, broken, confused, unseen, I want you to know this: you are not invisible. You are not forgettable. You are not replaceable. You are becoming. Every scar on your heart is proof that you felt deeply in a world that forgot how to care. And that's not weakness. That's your gift. You just need to give that love to the one person who truly deserves it. You. This isn't the end of your story, it's the rebirth. Because the day they treated you like you didn't matter, that was the day life started setting the stage for your comeback. You just didn't see it yet. There comes a day, quiet, almost unnoticeable, when something inside you finally clicks. It's not a loud revelation. It's not fireworks or thunder. It's subtle, like a whisper that says, enough. Enough trying to prove yourself to people who never wanted to understand you. Enough shrinking yourself just to make others comfortable. Enough explaining your heart to those who were committed to misunderstanding it. You wake up and realize that your worth was never meant to be measured by how others treated you. It was meant to be defined by how you treat yourself. That realization, it's the turning point. Because the world that once made you feel small no longer has power over you. You begin to see that their rejection wasn't your failure. It was your redirection. It was life removing distractions, illusions, and people who were never meant to stand beside the version of you that's coming next. The rise always begins in silence. It starts with small decisions. You start saying no more often. You start walking away from conversations that drain your soul. You stop chasing the people who don't check on you. You delete the messages you used to write but never send. And that small shift, that quiet resistance, becomes your rebirth. You're no longer trying to convince anyone of your worth. You're finally living it. People begin to notice. They won't understand at first, because they were used to the version of you that overgave, over-explained, and over-apologized. They'll sense the change before they can name it. You're calmer now, but stronger. You smile differently, not because you're pretending anymore, but because you've made peace with the storm inside you. You walk slower, not from weakness, but because you've learned that rushing through life, trying to be seen only leaves you empty. That's when life begins to shift. The same silence that once made you feel invisible now becomes your strength. You start to realize that peace is more powerful than validation. You no longer chase attention. You attract it through your calm, your composure, your consistency. The world begins to feel your absence in the places you used to pour yourself into. And the same people who made you question your worth now find themselves wondering how you built so much power out of pain. It's poetic, isn't it? The same silence that once broke you becomes the foundation of your rebirth. You stopped arguing and started observing. You stopped reacting and started building. You stopped proving and started moving. That's the quiet power that changes everything. There's something magnetic about a person who has suffered deeply and found peace anyway. That kind of person carries an energy that can't be faked. It's not arrogance, it's certainty. You know who you are now. You've been broken, doubted, left behind, and still, you rise, not bitter, not vengeful, but wiser. You've seen darkness and didn't let it turn you cold. You learned how to love yourself even when others refused to. That's what transformation looks like. Not loud, not public, but personal. It's not about proving anyone wrong anymore. It's about proving yourself right. About showing the younger version of you that the pain wasn't wasted. That the nights you cried alone weren't in vain. That every heartbreak, every betrayal, every dismissal, they all shaped you into someone who doesn't need to beg to be seen anymore. And soon, the world that mocked you will see what silence can build. They'll see the strength behind your calm, the success behind your stillness, the confidence behind your quiet. They'll realize that the one they overlooked was never weak. He was just patient. They'll start wondering how you did it, how you went from broken to balanced, from invisible to undeniable, from overlooked to unstoppable. But you'll know the truth. You didn't do it to prove anything to them. You did it because you finally learned to value yourself. You learned to protect your energy. You learned to stop pouring into empty cups and start investing into your own growth. You stopped fighting for a seat at tables where your presence was never appreciated and built your own instead. You realize that healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means no longer letting it define who you are. You no longer crave closure from people who were never capable of giving it. You no longer wait for apologies that will never come. You stop rewriting your worth in the language of those who can't read love correctly. You find peace in your own reflection, and as that peace grows, something beautiful happens. Life starts to bend in your favor. Opportunities appear where once there were only closed doors. You attract the kind of people who see your value without you having to explain it. The kind who listen when you speak and notice when you're quiet. The kind who respect your boundaries, your energy, your heart. You realize that life was never punishing you. It was preparing you. Every person who walked away, every situation that fell apart, every door that closed, it was all part of the purification. You were being stripped of everything that wasn't meant for the next chapter. Because sometimes, to find yourself, you must first lose everyone who couldn't see you. And now, you're not chasing love, you're radiating it. You're not begging for respect, you're embodying it. You're not asking for peace, you are peace. And that's when you finally understand. You never needed to be seen by everyone. You just needed to be seen by yourself. The world that once treated you like you didn't matter now feels your presence without you saying a word. That's the power of becoming whole. That's the power of silence. That's the rise that no one saw coming. The one that began the moment you stopped explaining and started evolving. There comes a moment, after all the storms, all the heartbreaks, all the silent nights, when life finally looks back at you and whispers, "No, you understand." You've learned that peace is not found in being understood, but in understanding yourself. You've learned that not every battle deserves your energy, and not every loss means defeat. Sometimes, the most powerful victory is walking away with your soul intact. You no longer crave to be seen, because you finally see yourself. You don't chase, you attract. You don't explain, you align. You don't beg for love, you become love. The same people who once made you feel small now look at you with confusion, because you've built a life so silent, so stable, so sacred, that it doesn't need noise to be powerful. You've become the calm after every storm they threw at you. You've become the peace they'll spend years trying to find. Life rewards those who stop waiting for permission to rise. It rewards those who stop asking why me and start saying watch me. You didn't just survive what they did to you. You transformed it. Every tear became discipline. Every rejection became redirection. Every moment you felt unseen became the space where your purpose was quietly growing roots. And now, those roots have become unshakable. You walk differently now, not because you're better than anyone, but because you finally understand your worth isn't up for negotiation. You forgive without reconnecting. You love without losing yourself. You stand tall, even when no one claps. And when you look in the mirror, you no longer see the person who was overlooked. You see the one who outgrew everything that tried to hold them down. That's when you realize they didn't break you. They built you. Their doubt gave birth to your discipline. Their silence gave rise to your strength. Their absence gave you space to meet the version of yourself that was always waiting to emerge. The one who doesn't need closure. The one who doesn't need validation. The one who finally understands. Being underestimated was the greatest gift life ever gave you. So you walk forward now, not seeking revenge, not seeking recognition, but peace. The kind that can't be taken, can't be shaken, can't be bought. You walk quietly, powerfully, humbly, because you know what it cost you to stand here, and that's enough. And if anyone asks how you did it, how you went from broken to unbothered, from forgotten to fulfilled. You'll just smile and say, by remembering who I was when everyone else forgot. That's the secret, bro. When they treated you like you didn't matter, that was life teaching you how to find yourself. And once you do, you never lose again.